One last thing I wanted to just get your thoughts on, Gavin, before we get out of here. And that was this, article from Current Affairs that I've been thinking about a lot, right? I've been thinking about it, and it's basically making the argument. It says Meidas Touch turns Democrats' minds to slop. Viewers are flocking to quote unquote independent media that serves up a never ending stream of anti Trump content. But this stuff is intellectual poison and may even help the right. I actually disagree. And here's the thing that I think that Meidas Touch has going for them that none of these other I'm self-serious platforms have going for them. And I wanted to get your reaction to this, Gavin, as somebody who does this for a living and who really understands.
As someone who poisons the mind of liberals. And
somebody who makes a living on YouTube. You know what I mean?
Destroys the intellectual fabric of discourse in this country.
That's true, too. We accomplish a lot in our day. But the reality is that they understand YouTube algorithms. They understand that they're fighting for eyeballs. They understand that if we're going to compete with the right wing, that we need to have catchy headlines. Now, I disagree with the fact that they never, ever, ever, ever choose to criticize the Democratic Party. They never come out like some of their individual contributors might push back, but for the most part, the main network is just going to be like Republicans bad 24/7. But that's their lane. I think that progressives should be learning the lesson that, hey, if you want to actually reach people with your progressive message, maybe you should make some more eye-catching thumbnails. Maybe you should make your headlines a little more clickable. Maybe it should be a little bit more consumable for people to get their information, and then they can still have your progressive take. They can still have your analysis in politics, but they can get it in a way that's going to actually compete in the algorithm that YouTube forces us all to exist with.
I don't know, bro. I think that Current Affairs is doing a much better job than Meidas Touch at reaching the average normie American. I don't know what you're talking about.
What's crazy is that if you type in Current Affairs to YouTube, I don't even think their YouTube channel comes up.
Oh, dude, they have like, they don't have any presence on YouTube. If they have a channel, it gets no views. It's not relevant at all to anyone who's not thoroughly on the left. Like, that's the thing about Nathan J. Robinson. I like his writing. I like his perspective. But he ain't reaching anyone who's not already solidly on the fucking left. Like, if you even know what Current Affairs is, then you're a card carrying leftist. You know what I'm saying? Like, no average person is just reading Current Affairs. And yeah, like, if I could just recreate the world on my ideal vision, yeah, I wish that a print magazine like Current Affairs got more attention than slop tubers churning out, anti-Trump propaganda or whatever you want to call Meidas Touch. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wish that was the case. But this isn't a perfect enlightened world. This is a fucking battleground of political ideology. And if we're going to win the battle, we have to play on the battleground that exists. We have to fight on the battleground that exists. And that is YouTube. These videos in this article, some of them have like almost 1 million views, like these are doing incredibly well. Lots of people are consuming this content. And yeah, I don't think it's a good idea for the left or for liberals to just lay down our weapons and be like, nope, we're just going to let right-wingers do this. And we're not going to counter it at all. We're not going to fight back with our own propaganda at all. We're just going to let them run roughshod over the entire online landscape. That's a terrible, stupid idea. What I will say is that it's not a good idea for Meidas Touch or even the Vanguard to be your only source of political information. It should be a part of a healthier media diet, in the same way that it's like, there's nothing wrong with eating a bacon double cheeseburger, but you probably shouldn't eat one for every meal. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I view this kind of content, if that makes sense. But to poo-poo it, to shame people who enjoy it or even who produce it, I think that's just virtue signaling bullshit.
I totally agree. But I also think that what does a mom do in the kitchen, right? Your kid wants to eat chicken fingers and bullshit for every single meal, right? So you try and take some of those flavor experiences that your child is craving and you try and feed them something a little bit healthier, right? I think that's what the Nathan J. Robinsons of the world should be more focused on, as opposed to poo-pooing and belittling people because they want to get their news in a way that's a little bit exciting. Because unfortunately, Gavin, we were talking about this the other day, whether you like it or not, the news that you consume has to compete with everything else on the internet, right? Everything else that's being fed to you, it battles in the same algorithm as Mr. Beast and watch my kid learn to wipe his ass. Like every single thing is on the same YouTube algorithm,
Is that
right?
a real?
I have no idea. I was just thinking of the most deranged fucking video with that.
Who's watching that?
Right, people, I promise you. All right, go back to early internet. It'd be like my kid learns to potty, and it'd be like 10 million views. Okay, it'd be like the people are fucking dumb, and they got a lot of time to kill in their office cubicles. But let's not get our eye off of the ball here. We should be learning from the things that are successful, right? And that's the one thing that Gavin and I have really tried to teach the online space. And I think we've started to be successful. We are, the big flashy, like we lean into the gutter. We'll fucking say anything. We'll make the show about anything to, kind of get you guys excited and, make sure that we're keeping our eyes on real progressive politics. That's how we give you guys the spoonful of sugar to help the medicine go down. I think that a little bit of shugs goes a long way, regardless of whether or not you're Walter Cronkite, whether you're Crystal Ball, Kyle Kalinske, whatever kind of a show you're doing. I think the message is learn from the algorithm and package your content in a way that says to people like, wow, I'm really clickable, and then deliver the content in that package that's 100% by your political principles. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, if you're actually interested in reaching people, if you're not, then I mean, do whatever you want. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, with movies and experimental film, like if you make a movie that's too experimental, it will get to the point where no one's going to watch it. And if they do, they're not going to like it. They're going to be like, this was pretentious bullshit, a total slog. This is masturbatory. You know what I'm saying? So to make an experimental film that people actually do want to watch, you kind of do have to think about that. You kind of have to be like, well, let's still make it palatable. Let's still give it a plot. Let's still give them something to hang on to, right? Even though it is an experimental thing. That's kind of like this, right? You don't have to go all the way. You don't have to make it just total fucking garbage popcorn content, but you can still get some substance in there with, that added sheen. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a mix. And to be honest, I don't watch a ton of the Meidas Touch stuff. Like it's not part of my daily viewing habits. So, I mean, I'm sure you could show me clips of theirs that I would be like, that's fucking stupid, or I disagree with that. This is, liberal brain rot, whatever. But,
I think learning from how they package their content and how they found an audience and why the audience likes the content that they're putting out, I think that's something that we all have to learn from, right? I mean, look at how fast food impacted the way that restaurants operate, right? Look how many places in America have a cheeseburger on the fucking menu. You know what I mean? That was not something that used to be considered fine dining back in the day, right? But we adapt because we're like, well, fuck, got to bring people, put butts in seats, okay? I'd like to sell a sirloin to everybody, but it's not going to fucking happen, right?
My favorite is when you go to like an Asian restaurant, and then there's like the little section of the menu that has like the American foods, and it's like, yes, you can get a cheeseburger if you really fucking have to. You don't like you'll be at like an Indian restaurant, and the cheeseburger at the end of the menu, and it's like, you fucking asshole. Whoever orders that is a piece of shit.
The macaroni and cheese for your fucking piece of shit child.
Yeah, but again, it's like, and again, like I think there's a difference too between like the packaging of something and the actual contents of it. Because like I do, not to toot our own fucking horns or pat ourselves on the back, but I actually think that we have very substantive conversations about politics and about strategy on the show every single time we go live. But yeah, if you just judged us by our thumbnails and headlines, you might come away with Nathan's take. What
Many
did he
people
say?
do.
What did he say exactly?
Turning,
the poison to
minds, Democrats' minds to slop.
Yeah, but then what did he say about the poison? Oh yeah, this stuff is intellectual poison. You might say that about the Vanguard. If all you did was peruse our homepage, and you're like, what the fuck is this? They want, like, what the fuck are they talking about? But again, I honestly think that if you tune into our show, in addition to all the good, fun drama that we love to talk about and monger, I also think that we have really good strategic conversations, and the left shouldn't be afraid of having fun, right? Because guess what? No one wants to show up to a party it's no fun. You know what I'm saying? So what, do you want everyone to join the right where the people are having fun? Or do you want to fucking have them disengage? Or do you want them to come over here to where the real party's at? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that the left struggles kind of in the same way that like weird health fitness people struggle, where they're like, don't worry, all you have to eat is all this, like these 5 really healthy things. And it's like, oh, great. I guess I never thought that if I only ate those 5 healthy things, I guess I would be pretty healthy, right? But the problem is we live in a real world where we get busy, we have a job, you're stressed out, you're constantly advertised to. Part of our culture is surrounded by cuisine. You go to the gas station, you might want a hot dog. You go to the fucking baseball game, you want a cold beer. Do you understand how just eating 5 simple things isn't so simple if that's going to be your whole life? It's kind of like that with politics, right? Oh, if the left just got all of our shit together and every single person did a really serious news show, then the people would be informed and we would revolt and we would have a general strike tomorrow. And I'm like, yeah, that's really great on paper, kind of like only eating 5 things that are going to make you fit forever, right? But as soon as you start operating in the real world, you understand that that's not feasible. That's unrealistic, right? You're not just going to, in every circumstance of life, be able to eat those 5 things that you planned that you were going to eat every single day as a way to be the fittest person in the world. You have to have some candy on the side. You have to have a cold beer. You have to have your Starbies in the morning, right? You have to have something that makes it worthwhile to keep going.
Wait, you're
right?
what in the morning?
A little cheap. Oh, people call Starbucks Starbies.
Oh, I was like, what?
It's what suburban white people call Starbucks. I've heard it so much that I've started to,
I've never
say it
heard
as
that.
a
What the
joke.
fuck?
Oh yeah, chat. Let everybody know that if you're a suburban bitch in a SUV, you're calling it Starbies on the way to work. Oh yeah, dude.
That's like how some people call Buffalo Wild Wings B-dubs.
Yeah.
Have you heard that one?
Oh yeah, but
Let's
Starbies
hit
is
up,
worse.
Let's hit up B-dubs and grab our Starbies on the way there. That's like how people call chicken nuggets like nuggies. I want my nuggies. I'm like, what are you, fucking 5 years old? Just Jesus Christ. That shit's annoying as fuck. But I'm going to get my nuggies.
Yeah. Anybody that calls it Starbies isn't ordering coffee either. They're getting like some sort of a high price breakfast milkshake. You know what I mean? The whipped cream on top being the most important thing to them. Anyway.
Yeah. The people in France call McDonald's, or at least some of them, they call it McDo.
McDo.
Like, let's get some McDo. I'm like, what the fuck? Either way. Yeah, I'm gonna go get some Starbies now.
Royale with cheese. Royale with cheese. What are they?
Either way, that was a good conversation. I think that I think that goes for everything too. Like I'm a huge cinephile. I'm a fucking snob when it comes to the world of movies, and I'll happily watch a 3-hour long art film that most people would find to be just the height of fucking boredom and the most tedious, pretentious garbage imaginable. I will sit there and lap it up like a dog. But I'll also, like, one of my favorite franchises right now that's going on is the Godzilla X Kong series, and they just announced the new one, Godzilla X Kong Supernova, and that shit, like, there's nothing about it that's artistic or anything other than just the lowest common denominator garbage. Like, it's just brain dead blockbuster cinema at its at its least intellectual. But I love that shit. And I'm super excited for the new movie. And I can't wait for when it comes out. And I can just go turn my brain off and revert to being like 7 years old for 2 hours and watch Godzilla and King Kong fight Space Godzilla, who's the rumored villain. Isn't that going to be lit, bro? When Space Godzilla shows up to fight regular Godzilla? I mean, I'm pumped.
I do think it's going to be a good time. I'm excited that little cinematic gem is going to come along, because I was worried about blockbuster cinema. I think that's going to save the day. But no, for real, I think it's going to be exciting. I got to get caught up. I didn't even see a Godzilla X Kong or whatever the fuck the last one was.
Yeah, you saw Godzilla versus Kong, right? Because we did a video on it.
Oh yeah, I think whatever the last one was is the one I missed.
Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire, which was fucking awesome. Although, again, literally probably the dumbest movie ever made. Like, I'm not even kidding you, one of the dumbest fucking movies ever made, but super fun.
Look out the door if you hear an ambulance. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there. Be there.